Forsaking all others. How many of you have noticed that in the media there's been a lot of marriages breaking up, cheating, and all that kind of stuff going on? Not just in the world, but even in the body of Christ. Real? Alright. And that's where it all came from. Like, what's this forsaking all others? For example, personally, I had a married man say to me, wait. And when I say me, I need you to know me, not because I am, you know, different to anybody, but the fact that there's Reverend in front of my name at least should cut some things off, don't you think? But it didn't, okay? Because he was like, oh, if I wasn't married, you know, I'd, you know, want to be with you. Ladies, would you class that as already cheating? Yep. Yes. Does that deserve a slap? Yes. My God, my level, no, shut up. From who? From the wife or from me, or both? Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. The spirit of truth is in the house. Okay, so this is what we're going to speak about. We want to speak about forsaking all others. It's because when you go to weddings, how many of you have been to loads of weddings this year already? You're tired of Ashebi ministry? Praise God. And so part of when they're doing the joining, the priest says, do you something, forsaking all others, take this person. Something along those lines. I haven't done a wedding yet, but something along those lines. And the person will say, I do. What does that mean? Like, what does it mean to forsake? When do you start forsaking someone, other people? Because when you say yes to somebody, it should mean you're saying no to everybody else, right? When you say I do to one, it means I don't to everybody else, right? But when does that start? Does that start at the altar? Or does that start before? Does that start when you say, hey? Or does that start once she says, yes, we can court? So I'm going to take it over to my mate. Oh, look at them. So pretty. How long have you guys been together now?
We've been, how long now? 2005, where are we now? 2017, so 12 years?
12 years. So that's 12 years. Nah, because you're making me feel old. 12 years together, right? Not married.
That's right. It's old.
Married for nearly 8 years.
Wow. Looks smiling at you. Oh my God. Okay. I'm gonna ask you first. Yeah. No pressure. What about Chido made him stand out above everybody else? Give us the glue. So like so that got something.
Oh, she was gonna love this. I think, as you said, I mean, there was definitely something about him that showed that he wasn't just like a typical guy, just wanting to just. He seemed quite mature. He seemed very quite serious. Somebody who knew where he was going in life. Someone who had a vision, and not in a way that like this is where I'm going. Yeah, but you could just tell by the way he carried himself, by the way he. Just was around me, by the way he respected me as well. I think it just sets him apart from other people, and he just seemed to be someone more mature and more responsible. That just appealed to me.
So I'll just do this. So if he, at the time when he approached you, if he kind of let on that he was speaking to other people, because I'm just exposing my entire life here. Okay. I remember a scenario that happened to a friend. You guys shouldn't judge my friend. So basically the guy wanted her to make a decision as to whether they were going to stay together or get to, you know, there's that, we're talking, and then there's that. And then because she was not sure, he then says, if you don't make a decision, I will go back to my ex. Bye. I know, when she told me, I was like, eh? My friend, when my friend told me, I was like, eh?
She said that to the man?
No, he said that to her. Like, so if, in a scenario where, obviously that didn't happen, imagine when he was trying to get to know you, you then know he was trying to get to know a lot of people. Would you have given him a chance then? Or was he doing that?
I think at the beginning there will always be a period where you're just friends and you're just hanging out, and you know, I never really went into it thinking straight away, yes, this is marriage, this is it, I'm gonna, you know, pursue, I'm gonna go. It was just like, it just happened quite naturally. So it was a bit blurry at first, but then there does come a point where you have
what do you mean by blurry?
No, I don't mean like blurry. I don't mean in that sense of. I just mean like in terms of you're dating or not dating. You're friends who obviously who like each other, but you haven't really, you know, before you start actually being in what you call a relationship, there is that kind of.
I think when we started dating, again, the first conversation wasn't about, you know, throwing out vibes or anything like that. So it was really it was quite friendly.
Okay.
Yeah,
smart. You said that, and then he had that smart because you knew.
Of course I did. I knew where I was going, but it started off friendly, and I think there was, it wasn't, although I didn't have, I was not, like you said, you know, exactly in different places at the same time. But it wasn't. It took a while. It took about 6 months from when we first met to when we actually started dating. So we said, I actually had asked you would be my girlfriend, quite clearly. I know.
Yeah, you're good.
How long did it take you, bro?
Mine was like a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So getting to know her.
And that was a year with like 2 no's.
Oh. Ouch.
Yeah.
If at first you don't succeed. Because you're the one saying no. It's true. Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay. So basically, the friendship. But I like what you said. Something you said about when you guys first started, you didn't go in with the mindset of pursue. Ladies, is that a lesson we need to learn? Is there something wrong with ladies? Like, let's ask Pastor Kinley. He's going to get me back from this. Pastor Kinley. Okay, as a single, I've already said this, as a single gentleman, do you feel put off when you meet someone and you see marriage in their eyes? Like they look at you as marriage material.
I think it really depends on, when we think of words like you alluded to, like pursue, I think it depends on to what extent. I think if somebody is looking at me in a particular way and there's an intensity there and it's a bit too much and a bit too forward, then it can be a bit off-putting. But I think if somebody is just thinking, you know what, this is a cool guy, I want to get to know him as a person, as a friend, it's a different kind of intensity, and that's cool.
Okay, so that's it. All right, that's it. But how about you, Tolu? If a guy So, okay, I think it might be different because it seems like a lot of women, I'm saying, if you disagree, please put your hand up and you can say your bit. But a lot of women, we want to know that the guy is coming, that comes, knows what he wants. And that seems different for like guys. The guy is like, okay, come and get to know me. I want to know, but we want to be like, what do you want? Or no? It depends how old you are. If you're 18, you're still smelling different roses. If you are Tari something, my friend, what do you want? Okay. Is it different though? Is it different? Should it be different?
I don't know. Should it be different? Each to their own, really. I know for me, because I know what I want. And I was discussing this with some friends the other day that, you know, time is, my time is precious. Like, I don't like wasting time. Like, I would give up my time for the right person. Like, if I know that, yes, that, okay, we've got something here, I will give you my time. Because if you're not serious or if you haven't said your intentions, you're just wasting my time and just talking back and forth and blah, 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 you're just talking rubbish. Then I'm serious, I'm just like that, then I'm like, where's this going? Because is this a...
Do you ask?
Yeah, I've asked before.
Do you guys...
I have asked.
How many people ask where it's going?
Yes.
Like, can you ask?
I asked.
Pardon? How far? Okay, like,
How far?
Like,
okay,
so when you're speaking to someone,
so when I'm speaking to someone,
day one you ask, or
oh
when?
God, no.
Like, what do you want? My last name needs to be changed, okay?
No, that's too early. Like, you're crazy. Like, ladies, please don't do that. First date, no. I think it was about. I'd say it was about a couple of months, 2-3 months, because when you find yourself in a situation where like you both know that this is that you've both got a connection, you're both like it's just good, it's right, and then you're like, okay, where is this gonna go? Like, do you have any? What are your intentions? Like, did you have what?
We're connected. We're connecting with what
I shouldn't have been you guys teach
you know. This is it. So like it's like, what are your intentions? Like, because like my mindset for the next however many years, like this is where I want to be. Are you in that same situation? Because if you're not, then you don't need to be talking like this, especially when the conversation starts getting really personal, and then emotions start to get attached a little bit. You're like, okay, I need to figure out where this is going.
But 2-3 months, that took you a while. People on the first they just tell their life story, like take me.
That's them, but then do they end up with that person? No, exactly.
Not the deepest, darkest.
You know, but seriously, like time for me is of the essence. Like, don't waste my time. Waste your time, but not my time.
Okay. Alright, but you see, 2-3 months. I recently was in a conversation with a gentleman. He's in a relationship at the moment, and he says they've been together for like over a year. So I was like, okay, over a year, and he's at a marriageable age. That's a thing. And I was like, okay, so when is he was like, oh, it's new. I said, huh? I said, what's new? He's like, the relationship. I'm like, does she think it's new? He said, no. But to him, it's new. And that's like, I think they were about 18 months in. But then you're saying like 3 months, you want to know like...
Sometimes you know. I think sometimes you know. Like, I'm from the guys that my friend guys who have gotten married, like, for them, they knew, and some of them knew within, like, I don't know, 4 months, 5 months, if less sometimes. They were like, yeah, and then they might not have been quite ready. They were doing some, you know, just like kind of...
Okay, let's clarify something. Just all the guys on the panel, I want to ask you this question, because ladies, we've been told, you have to bear witness to this one, that when a man meets you, he knows whether he's going to marry you, yes?
No.
I said women, you see? Women. Okay, but ladies, we've heard that, right? It's not just me, we hear that, right? So then, I think that's where, when the guy is now doing, what's that? Yo-yo with your emotions, it confuses us because it's like, but you're supposed to know. So just clarify for us, no pressure, or for your gender. Please turn the mic to your mouth. So, you're ready to triple.
Let the married men speak.
Married men. Is it true that when a man meets a woman, he knows whether he's going to marry her or not? Or at least wants to marry her?
Mine, I've got kind of like a weird way of doing things, but I think yes, to a degree. I think most men kind of know what they're looking for, and once they're sure, they're sure. You know, for me, personally, I had to come to a place where I had to make sure I defined stuff, because there was a lot of things I didn't want to get involved with because of my past. One of the things I knew was that because things were not defined, one, I didn't value relationships, so it was easy for me to get in and get out. And I was noticing that it was having an effect on my heart. So one of the things I wanted to do was make sure that whoever I commit to totally, I have made that decision that I'm in it for the long haul, whether she would have me or not have me. Do you get what I'm saying? So I had to make sure that this person was worthwhile investment of time, right? But there are no guarantees. I always say this, that, you know, relationships are a big step of faith, because all that is keeping us together is our word. I do. It's not, I mean, the paper can be torn. We can move to another country. We see it all the time, and we can go somewhere else and marry somebody else. So it is a commitment. So I had to find the person I was willing to have faith and believe in, that their word was as good as our bond.
So integrity of the work. So
Yeah.
to answer the original question,
Yeah.
yes, a man will know.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So take it to triple. Oh. In a situation where, obviously, you're single at the moment, send your applications. But in a situation where the guy and the girl have been actually in a relationship for a while, and in the relationship, he's still saying he's not sure. Like, so you're my girl, but nah, like today, yes, today, tomorrow, no, but you're still in a relationship. Is that a... so please pass to Busola. I saw her head go.
So this was from the perspective of a man.
From a perspective of a man, is it for the woman to, be patient and understand? I say that with such bias in my voice. I actually noticed it. But should she be patient in that scenario and just wait on him until he's or should she go with the flow?
See, from my own understanding with regards to men in general and some of the brothers I've seen around me, the reality is this: when a man wants something, he wants it.
Yeah. Say for those at the back.
When a man has made up his mind and he is dead certain on the thing that he wants, that's it. No sunshine, rain, or anything else would distract him from. If he's not sure, he's not sure, and that should cause a red flag in the mind of a woman. A woman should never try and coerce or try and pivot a man's decision. Say both ways.
Can you explain pivot and coerce? Give us examples of pivoting and coerce.
Yeah, I think in the sense of don't try and manipulate your partner's emotions.
You're still using big grammar. Sir, I want examples. Listen, it's not for volume. Listen, you can't be doing, you can't shake me. Listen. Okay, so when you say pivot and coerce, like what things do we do that you think is... you might want to phone a friend.
Ask the audience. Women, what things do you... No, I'm joking. I'm sorry.
Tell us.
I'm sorry. No, but in all seriousness, I think because they say that women are very... I'm making generalizations, so please excuse me, but the general consensus is that women really look forward to marriage and their wedding day and all that. And especially in the day and age that we're in, there's so much pressure from our generation and social media and all these things to get married. That's number one. Number two, women at the back of their minds have the biological clock. So they're watching the biological clock. That then also plays into their mind. So there could be this thing, oh, I want to get married soon, or sooner rather than later. So if they're in a position where it looks like it's heading in that direction, she then, I don't know, again, it's just a generalization, I don't know.
No, we won't shoot you.
Okay, no, I need to put those disclaimers in there, because I plan to leave her alive. But they may start dropping hints or pushing them into a corner. So what are we now? What's going on? And not that she shouldn't, but then exerting a level of pressure or playing the position of a man to move the relationship forward simply because he hasn't made up his mind. And I think that's a very dangerous thing to do. Obviously there should be free-flowing dialogue between the two individuals, but the reality is when a man has made up his mind, he's made up his mind. And but every situation is different, every circumstance is different, every couple is different. So again, a lot of what we're going to discuss here is our personal experience too. So what happens with my brother is that's his story, that's his testimony. It may not work out the same way for somebody else.
Yeah.
So, obviously at the end of the day, our guidance, I'm assuming 90% of us, if not 100% of us are here Christians. So it's about, God, what do you want? Or where am I going? What do you have for me?
Okay. Awesome.
So, yeah.
Thank you. Okay. So forsaking all others has to do with being faithful. Being faithful. Question is it forgivable? I'll just put it general. Is it forgivable to cheat while you're dating? Or is that get out now? Okay.
Yeah.
Define what cheating is.
I think that needs to be defined, but
okay.
I think I need to answer the first question, which is when does it start? I think for both people is at the point of agreement. For a guy, it should be in the point of pursuit.
Say that. Can you clarify? Like.
Okay, so when a guy decides, okay, I want to, I feel like I found my rib. I was gonna say my missing rib, or whatever term you want to give it. I believe at that point in time, you need to make a conscious decision that I am totally sold out to this cause, and make sure that all doors are closed, because you don't want to have in a relationship, I wonder what would have happened if, because that compromises the integrity of the future relationship. I understand why guys don't do it, because they are not sure if the lady will say yes, but again, like I said, pursuing someone is a step of faith. Christ didn't know we will all come to him, but yet he died. You know, believing that, you know, you will see that gesture of love and respond in kind. And, you know, Ephesians says we should love our wives as Christ loved the church. So as a guy, you already have a guide. You understand? So that's that. So is it forgivable to cheat during courtship? I don't think is in fact, I know for a fact that it's something that you shouldn't do. Right?
I think we all agree you shouldn't.
You shouldn't.
But is it is it wise to forgive and then?
It's wise to forgive, but I'm not sure.
And continue the relationship.
I'm not sure. I would say I'm not sure if it's wise to continue. Do you understand? It's wise to forgive, but I'm not sure if it's wise to continue. Because I believe cheating is a function of not love, is a function of trust. Trust is a decision. I can make a decision to love, but trust is built. So when you cheat, you've compromised that trust, and that means you destroy, the foundation. So you're already missing a major pillar in the house of your relationship. So whether you can build that trust again to give you a solid basis for marriage, that's where the question, that's what I think the question is. Yeah.
I think one of the things that we have a major problem with is how we see relationships.
Yeah.
Is how particularly in church, how we view dating. And it's a problem when you're dating somebody and you're acting like they're your husband or your wife. If they cheat on you, it just is the same as, you know, they're just not ready for it. It's not complex. We don't need to be overthinking. Okay, even if they don't, let's take cheating out of the mix. What I think it should be in dating is two people who have not yet committed to one another, who are looking to see if we will. That's what dating is. We don't have any commitment, so you are free to cheat. It is the truth. It is the truth. You are.
Who's gonna put it on their status? You are free to cheat.
Let me just. Let him land. Let him land.
I think we should define what cheating means.
Let me come back to that. I said that because it is very provocational. And I think there is purpose in me saying it is important that when you are with somebody, this is how you ought to think. If you don't think, particularly when you're dating, that's what we're talking about now, isn't it? Particularly when you're dating, you have to know that this person is not yet mine. They're not, no matter what they say, they haven't done. And because they haven't said I do, they don't belong to you. And when you know that they have, it helped me, for me in dating, it helped me realize this girl has options. If I don't know that she has options, and I start to think about her as my wife, like I've already won the crown, then I haven't. And so it's important when you're dating that it's clear. And you are secure in yourself, knowing that, you know what, I bring something so clear to the table. Every one of us know that cheating is wrong. We all know that. So that's not even, I think there is a conversation to have before we even talk about the cheating. And when you're clear that, you know what, I bring something to the table, she has options, and she chose me, or he has options, and he chose me, that's a very good place to be. When cheating comes into the mix, when somebody has that kind of mindset, whatever kind of cheating, full-blown sex, a snog or internet something, whatever kind of cheating it is,
So
different levels.
levels.
It just goes, and cheating will be defined not necessarily by any standard, but it will be defined by those two people. Cheating sometimes can be, you lied to me, that is cheating, and it would affect us all in so many different ways because of our own personal journey. But when that happens, it's no longer a question of, shall I stay or should I go? It's a question of, okay, what are they bringing to the table for me now? Does that make sense? And if they don't bring something solid to the table, then you have a decision to make. So if I'm sitting with two people and one of them says, even married folk, and one of them says he cheated on me or she cheated on me, the question I'm going to ask is, what do you want to do now? Because it's really, the next move is yours. It's yours. It's really, if you want to make it work, you can. It can work. If you don't want to make it work or you don't think you can, the next move is really yours.
Okay. So we've heard from, as I said, I want to hear the ladies.
Just to add to that, I mean, it is good to know that before you get married, you are free to cheat. As I said, you are free to cheat. In context, we all think cheating is wrong and don't cheat, it's bad, don't do it. But it's good to know when you get married that, yes, I had the option to cheat, even if they said you could cheat as much as you like, but I chose not to. I chose not to because I love this person, I want to be with this person. If you're in a place where you're asking yourself, asking your friends, asking your partner, is this cheating? Is this okay? Is that, have I crossed the line? You have to ask yourself, are you really ready to be committed to this person? So that should be a test for someone to ask themselves, if I can't even spend 1 year, 2 years before I get married, not cheating, how am I going to spend the rest of my life being committed to this person?
So I just think if they cheat, that's not the time to be getting married. Getting married is not going to solve the cheating issue. It's not going to resolve it. They're just not ready. Because being married is, I choose you. It's I have a choice, or choosing means that there are always options. Love is choosing over and over again. Even when I walk with God, Paul put it this way, I die daily. I wake up every day and I choose you, Lord, again. I choose you. It's consistent.
But I like what you said in terms of, like, we all have choices. You're free to cheat in context while dating. And it's where we have to. I'm actually going to mean that and not put it in context. I'm going to tag him. I'm going to be like, Pastor Cheeto said, you're free to cheat. I'm seeing what happens with all the cheating people who just come to your church. Like, we found him. We found him. Nice. Come on to me, all you that cheats. It's all right. It's all right. Okay. So but within the marriage. Within the marriage now, within the covenant of marriage, if someone cheats, because the Bible says God hates divorce. It says there, although the Bible also says that, you can divorce if, and this is the clause, if one of them has been unfaithful. So, it's a bit of a general thing because we have situations where we've heard in the media, I'm not going to name names because I don't want to get sued, Christians that they've had infidelity in their marriage and they've gone for divorce. But also more recently, I can actually say their names, Pastor Hope and Pastor Ron Carpenter, where this time it wasn't the man that cheated, it was the woman that was unfaithful, and he wanted to actually just divorce her. He actually announced in his church, and his church is not like they just started, they have 10 people. Like, he is an apostle of, I can't remember how many thousand churches, a whole lot of churches. And he announced there that he no longer wanted to continue the marriage. And then, I think months later, after dealing with God, God showed him that the only reason he wanted to divorce her was because his heart was hardened. Eventually forgave her. They're reconciled. She's back in ministry. They're happier than ever. It's an amazing. Wow, some of you are like, nah, bro. Nah, that's you though. That's you. And then also, I don't know, maybe more of a popular story would be the Campbells, Mary, Tina Campbell. Stop me all the time. So there's one thing she's like, do it once, man. Don't do it over and over and over again. I'm terrible at doing impersonations. We'll cut that bit out. And basically, again, found out, you know, she's there doing the work of the Lord and up and down, singing, thinking the husband is the faithful guy, and then she finds out that he'd been cheating. And yes, but what I loved about their story is that she was real about, I mean, both stories were real, but she was very, you could feel the rawness of the emotions, where she wasn't trying to Christianize it, she wasn't trying to put on a face for everybody to see that she was just keeping the faith. She broke down, they broke down, but then God allowed them to build up. Now, I'm very much like, listen, just because it worked for you, doesn't mean you build a gospel around it, okay? So, for example, I know a Christian lady that married a Muslim guy, and now she feels like she can tell everybody, like, you know, you guys can cross-pollinate. Sorry, don't get that. No? Smart jokes, hallelujah. I just drop it, some of you are like cross-pollinate, GCSE. But we can't, but the Bible says you cannot be unequally yoked with an unbeliever. So just because it's working, and some people, they get with, like my mom married my dad, she was Christian at the time, and he was a terrible Muslim, and then they married each other. So none of them were really strong in their faith, but then my mom got saved, and in prayer, my dad then came to Christ, and then, you know, unbelievers do the most when they come to Christ. Because after my dad got saved, before he got saved, we were sleeping normal. Now my father was saved, 6 o'clock, prayer. Like, gee, you just came into the faith, like, what is this?
We've been saved.
Like, we've been saved, we've been doing this for a minute now, 6 a.m., making us lead song, and what's this? But, do you understand what I mean? So, we have different stories. Yeah. In marriage, and cheating occurs, because it does happen. Yeah. By whatever way you define it. Would you then say, stay? Would you say, go? Or would you give a wishy-washy answer and say, it's up to you, I can't come and die? Yes, ma'am.
So I got a situation that actually happened, and it was a very good friend of mine. We worked together, and I was actually there at her wedding, and I remember the journey of her and her husband. Like, she was in one part, so she was in the UK, and then she moved to the States for a little bit, and but at the time they were kind of like friends, going back and forth. And then when he decided that yes, that he wanted to marry her, he flew over to the States to, you know, to really say to her, like, this is what I want, etc., etc. And then she accepted, which is all good. It was all fine. And then they got married and everything, it was fine. And then they went through a really difficult stage in their marriage and within the church as well, and it was quite difficult. And, you know, I was there supporting both of them, praying, until one day she called me on the phone and she was crying. Like, I felt like, you know when sometimes you feel helpless? I felt very helpless at that point in time, and I was just like, my God, what's going on? She was just like, she was crying and saying that this is what he's done, etc., etc. And obviously, you know, my blood was boiling because I couldn't believe what he had done. And we were talking about it, Now, I advised her, what do you want to do? Because for me, as a single person, I could have said, you know, you can leave him, blah, 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 blah. I was like, no, this is a marriage. This is someone's marriage, this is someone's covenant that they've made, you know, with God. It's important. So I said, what is it that you want in this marriage? Do you want to work at it? What is it? She was like, she wasn't sure, she doesn't know. And I said, well, pray about it. When you're ready, let me know, and then I'll help you to what you need to do. So anyway, she prayed about it, and she was like, okay, I'm gonna stay at it. I'm gonna work through this. I know he's done it. He's admitted it. Fine, great. So I said, okay, I'll try and help you to get help. I'll get you help. So I got the help for them. So counselors, this is where you need to get in touch. Now, she was willing. On his end, he wasn't. Do you get what I'm saying? And they'd been married close to 8 years, I think. She was willing to literally forgive him move on and repair this marriage. And he wasn't. Every time she said, okay, we've been given this, let's go into this counselor, he was like, yeah, sure, we'll do. And it never happened, to the point where she was just like, you know what, I'm done. End of. And she filed for divorce because he wasn't willing. And what was funny was, right at the point where the divorce was signed, he said to her, I didn't actually think you were going to go through with it. Really? After 3 years of separation, you didn't think I was going to go through with it. You did this. So, for her, for some people, they're willing to work at it. Some aren't. If you're willing to work at it, work at it. Or as long as both of you are willing to work at it in that marriage, it will, you know, it will transpire, things will get better. But if it's just only one of you that just wants to continue in that relationship, pray about it. And if nothing else can be done, pastors have prayed or whatever, then, you know, you just got to do what you've got to do. So, you know, for me, in that situation, it's
not clear.
Yeah, so that was a scenario of where she really, like, one couple really wanted this to work. He didn't. And that was what really shocked me and everybody and the family as well. And so, yeah, as long as, if it happens in your relationship, in your marriage, and you're able to work through it, forgive each other, and really go through it and pray about it, seriously, like, for the sake of your marriage, just, you know,
someone else say something?
Yeah, just real quick. Definitely, I agree with totally, because for me, I just believe everything starts with a choice, starts with a decision. If something has happened, it's important to be clear, okay, you know, especially when you are been the person that has been affected by it, you need to decide what you want to do, like Pastor Cheeto also said. And if the decision is to move forward, so I'm going to look at moving forward here. Marriage is great, guys, by the way, just so you know. Just so you know, but within the context of this, it's important for both parties to identify why it occurred. You understand? Why? So I'm going to go to what the next step. What does it look like to work through this? We've never experienced it, and we are not ever in the name of Jesus. You know, but the way I would advise someone is, you know, why did it occur? You know, what was the inspiration or the motive behind it? You know, what were you looking for? Identifying the root cause, dealing with the root cause would help ensure that it wouldn't happen again. That looks like counseling. That looks like honest conversation, honest, open-hearted conversation as to this is where I am. And obviously understanding that forgiveness is one, but there also has to be time for healing to occur. Being open and being available to the person to say, look, I messed up, I'm sorry. You know, you saying, I'm sorry. As long as you're willing to work, you have to be willing to say as many I'm sorries as it would take to bring the healing.
Because I saw, I think it was in Manny's Instagram. Yeah. And I'm sure you guys, I always call it black chat. Is it black chat or back chat? Back chat. As in back chat. Okay. Sorry. And one guy was saying, I don't know his name, I think he's the contentious one.
Yeah.
What's his name? Lucas. Sorry, don't sue me. And he was basically saying, like, if you're going to, if a man cheats and you choose to stay, don't keep going on about it. Because if you keep going on about the cheating, then you might as well leave. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What sort of relationship?
That was
in a marriage.
in whatever scenario. So basically, you know how you said you should be willing to say sorry. I'm Nigerian, so that's the closest thing I can give it. And then after a while, you're like, sorry now. Like, I said sorry.
Yeah, obviously that's within context. Within the context of this, if you want true healing, both parties have to be willing to work towards a goal of resolution, right? So you have to be willing, if you are the one that did it, you have to be willing to say the sorry and do whatever it takes to help build your relationship. But then on the other side, if you're willing to move past it, you also have to find the strength, amen? Find the strength through prayer to not continue to repeat the cycle of it. Because if not, you are inviting the situation again to have power.
Okay.
So you have to be, to deal with it by looking and moving forward in your thoughts.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that you're not honest about the hurt that has come through through the situation. So I don't believe in you repeating it over and over again, but encouraging a conversation if you need it.